Hey, it's Eran here, and I'm doing a YouTube live stream quickly just to kind of talk about one of the recent questions that I've got. And I'm just going to set up the podcast. So I also have a podcast recording at the same time. So just bear with me here. Okay, so I'm going to record as well. All right, this is a podcast, and this is episode number 4 for Questions with Eran from Eran Bucai Coaching. And today's question is from Ya from Atlanta, Georgia. And she asked, how do I overcome a mental block when writing copy for my sales letter or funnel? So this is a great question. Really, really good question. I think a lot of people run into that, honestly. And I know I have run into that as well. And there's a lot of solutions out there. Okay, so let me give you a few tips, okay, and what I would do. So the first thing, the first thing I do is I get coffee. I ask you, like, have you had coffee? Because if you haven't had coffee, sometimes it can be a little bit slow. So get your coffee, okay? And also sometimes I find that music really helps, honestly, just putting a bit of Eminem or Florida, that's kind of my go-to music. And that kind of helps. Secondly, in terms of like more practical tools, so I've got some notes here, but basically, the first thing you gotta understand with a sales letter or a funnel, you're selling. You're selling, but in writing. So selling not in writing is selling verbally. So the thing is, you want to really kind of communicate what it is that your product is all about. So what I would do is I would actually make a list of all the questions that are relating to my product. Okay. Now, once you've written those questions, you can have two options. Number one, you can take your phone, right? So you get your phone with you, and then you literally just start record, say the question, and then answer it straight in. And then pause the recording, and then do the next question. And do like 5, 10, 15 questions along these lines that are related. And I'll give you a few questions in a moment to give you an idea on what type of questions, right? Another option is once you make a list of all these questions, instead of just recording yourself, you can actually get on a Zoom call with a friend and actually have a conversation. Give them the list, make them the interviewer, and ask them to basically ask you and have an interview style, because then it's going to be really natural. Now, let me give you an example of the different questions. And of course, you record the Zoom call, okay? Record it, so therefore you can then transcribe it. So here are example of the questions. So first of all, who is your ideal client? Number 1. Number 2, what are the 3 to 5 biggest struggles your ideal client has? Number 3, how would working with you help solve those struggles? Number 4, what is your core offer? Describe the product or explain the process. Number 5, what are the primary emotional benefits that have tended to resonate with most of your customers? Number 6, what makes you different from other people in your industry or whatever it is that you're doing? Number 7, what is not your ideal client that you would want to exclude from targeting if possible? Number 8, if you had 60 seconds to sell someone on why they should absolutely work with you, what would you say? Okay, so this is just great different questions you can actually use. You can come up with more questions along these lines, but that's just to give you an idea. Once you've done, you can go to a website called rev.com. I will leave a link as well. You can get a $10 off on your first order. It's basically 1 minute for $1. So I can give you 10 minutes free, basically. So you can record like in 11 minutes, pay $1 and get the whole thing transcribed. So you will get that transcribed with rev.com. You will get the transcription back within literally hours, okay? Maybe even an hour or less. They're extremely fast. It's a really human actually transcribing it. And you can actually take that transcription and then use it as the main content for your sales letter or funnel or whatever. Now, regardless of this transcription or not, when I've done this strategy with other clients and for myself as well, I found that just getting into this interview style alone got my creative juices flowing. So even before I got the transcription back, I was already like, okay, now I'm tracking. Now I've got a bit of a flow to what I'm doing. But also getting the transcription kind of helps, because it kind of, sometimes you answer a question really well and you're like, damn, I wish I recorded that. You know what I mean? So that's just a really good way to do it as well. Now, additionally, let me give you some other tools that you can use. So I'll leave the links for that as well. So one of them is internetmarketingcourse.com free headline generator. So that's just to get your different headlines created for you. And it's just, it basically, you answer different questions and it spits out ideas for headlines. And then the same website, but the subdomain is, or the domain is internetmarketingcourse.com/free sales generator. And that's the same thing, but it spits out a sales letter. And another one is also the software that I use to host my courses and digital products is called Podia, and they actually have a sales copy generator. And again, I will leave the link for that. It's podia.com/sales-copy-generator. Okay, so you can just take those things and use that. Okay, if you want to take things to the next level, there's also a paid software called Funnel Scripts. That's like an $800 investment, and it kind of does a similar thing, but probably more advanced and more fancy and everything. And also, I have a guide, a simple guide for a copywriting business as well, which I can also give you, and I will leave a link as well in the YouTube or the podcast, wherever you're watching this or seeing this. If you want to get some free resources on copywriting, learn copywriting, and so on, I recommend you check out a website called copyhackers.com. This is definitely my go-to resource for training and education on copywriting. They've got so much free content. I didn't buy any of their products. They just have great free content, okay? So hope that helps. Hope that gets your creative juices going for your copywriting, your sales letter, and so on. That's what I would do. Again, the question was, how do I overcome mental block when writing copy for my sales letter or funnel? Use all these tips I've just outlined. Let me know how you went. Leave a comment with what you got from this. If you have any questions, let me know. If you're listening to this on my YouTube channel, please leave a comment. Share it with somebody as well. If you're on my podcast, appreciate you listening. And otherwise, I'll see you in the next podcast, next video. Thanks a lot, and I'll speak to you soon.